Hello, students. Welcome again. Today we are going to do a poem, a lecture upon the shadow by John Donne. Just a little bit about the poet. He was born on January 22nd, 1572, and died on 31st March 1631. John Donne was born in England, and he was a Jacobean poet of extraordinary skill. He was regarded as a great metaphysical and love poet. His works, very famous poems of John Donne, are The Flea, Canonization, The Good Morrow, A Valediction, Forbidding Morning, The Sun Rising, Holy Sonnets, Butter My Heart, 3% God, The Ecstasy, Death, Be Not Proud. Now let's do the paraphrase of the poem. First I will read the stanza and then we'll just go the parawise, just the meaning of those stanza. The poem starts like this. Stand still and I will read to thee a lecture, Love in Love's Philosophy. These 3 hours that we have spent walking here, two shadows went along with us, which we ourselves produced. But now the sun is just above our head. We do those shadows tread, and to brave clearness all things are reduced. The poet is telling to his beloved, that they have walked for about 3 hours, and in those 3 hours, two shadows have passed. Those were their own shadows, but now there is no shadow because the sun is just above their head. Shadow usually disappears during the noon when the sun is just above us. Second stanza. So whilst our infant loves did grow, disguises did and shadows flow from us and our cares, but now this not so, that love hath not attained the highest degree, which is still diligent lest others see. Except our loves at this noon stay, we shall new shadows make the other way. In these lines, the poet suggests that as the infant love grows, there remains no shadow. The lovers are usually blinded by love at the beginning of their courtship, but as they grow and reach maturity, the pretensions disappear and genuine love reaches a maturity level. Next, as the first were made to blind others, these which come behind will work upon ourselves and blind our eyes. If our loves faint and westwardly decline, to me though falsely thine, and I to thee mine actions shall disguise. The lovers are moving in the west directions, so their shadows fall behind them. Soon the hour of noon will disappear and the shadows will disappear too. The poet suggests that the illusion that lovers produce blind each other, and as they are moving towards the west, their shadows will soon disappear and they will be able to see each other clearly. Now, here, children, disguise refers to the pretensions that lovers have showed to each other. With the going away of pretension, the mature lovers will see each other clearly. Next lines. The morning shadows were away, but these grow longer all the day. But oh, love's day is short if love decay. Love is a growing or full constant light, and his first minute afternoon is night. Using the imagery of shadow, the poet tells that as lovers reach maturity, their vision becomes clear, and as love fades, the sight and vision of lovers also fades and becomes compromised. The poet suggests that the stage of maturity is short lived, love fades quickly, as he says, and his first minute afternoon is night. But he also contradicts his own metaphor and says that love's day is short if love decay. The length of love is short if it starts to decay, but if lovers hold on to love and withstand the period of maturity for all their lives, love will never die. So that was the paraphrase of the poem. We'll just do the critical analysis of the poem. First, about the form of the poem. The couplets of A Lecture Upon the Shadow is reminiscent of Shakespearean sonnet. It includes the iambic pentameter that love has not attained the highest degree. Now, the title. The title of the poem, A Lecture Upon the Shadow, aptly mentions the theme of the poem. The poet clearly mentions that he is going to give a lecture to his beloved, as the line shows. The image of shadow plays an important role in explaining the different stages of love. The time of noon, where there is no shadow, is the time of maturity. The presence of shadow is compared to the presence of illusion in the heart of lovers about each other. The shadow doesn't let the person see the real image. It is only when a person becomes mature, when the lovers clearly see each other. Now the poetic devices, lot of poetic devices has been used in this poem by the poet. Irony and paradoxes are also there, and metaphors are vivid and sensual. So first of all, alliteration, use of consonants, assonance, and repetition of vowels. These three R's that we blind behind decline. Like this, poets has used very smartly. Imagery. Figurative language, such as imagery expressed through metaphors, is persistent. Given are the few lines used in the poem. The images create created using personification and metaphor. It is the people who are walking as the shadows cannot walk on themselves. Conceit, use of conceit and lengthy metaphors consolidate the poem. The entire poem is conceit, where the depiction of light and shadow presents a complex metaphor for the start, apex, and end of a relationship. The final line of A Lecture Upon the Shadow may be a personification where the his in his first minute refers to an anthropomorphism for love itself. Now, symbolism. So, we will do first is shadow. There are several symbols used in this poem. The shadow represents the quality of love. It grows and declines with the different stages of love. Second is light. The symbol of light is used to highlight the fact that in light we have a clear vision. At night, the light fades, and so does love. The poem suggests in these lines, and his first minute afternoon is night, that as soon as maturity disappears, love also disappears. Maturity of love is compared to the hour of noon, the fading of love with night. But at the end, poets suggest that love itself is full of light. Love is a growing or full constant light. Metaphor. A strong metaphor has been used to compare the maturity of love with the rising and setting of the sun. The morning, noon, and evening described in these poems correspond to the rise and fall of a love affair. The first stanza details the progress of love from its beginning. During the initial stages of love, young lovers often disguise, wanting to project the best of their love. See the example. The narrator explains his lover his philosophy of love. Now the sun is just above the head, and no longer do they hide under the cover of morning shadows. Their love hath attained the highest degree and emerged from the shadows. At this point, there are no pretensions, and their true love is visible. At the end, Donne contradicts his own metaphor by suggesting that love's day is short if love decay. Now the theme of the poem is love. A lecture upon the shadow is a poem about love. Then compares the vision and delusion of lovers of us to a situation of light and shadow, wherein sight is only unrestricted at noon when the light of the sun produces no shadow. The poem hints at the inevitable decline of love. However, this love can be sustained through maturity. Lovers in the early stage presents their best to each other. Lovers do not see their true nature. Only when lovers attain maturity, they see each other without any pretension. And when lovers see each other without pretension, it is difficult for them to last their love long in a relationship. The period of maturity is short lived. However, if lovers succeed in holding on to this period of maturity for long, their love will never fade. The message the poet wants to give is subtle message withstanding love with maturity. Love can have pretension in its early stage, but as love grows and attain maturity, their pretensions disappear. In order to stay in love forever, lovers must hold on to maturity forever. When lovers see each other without pretension, it is difficult for them to last their love long in relationship. The period of maturity is short lived. However, if lovers succeed in holding on to this period of maturity for long, their love will never die. Here are few words and their meaning. You can go through them. Children, that's all in the poem. Hope you have understood. Thank you very much for listening patiently.